All right, we are live. Brad Logan alongside Zach Berry. Another nail biter. The Rebels win again, Zach, 80-79 over Alabama. We sat right in these seats last night, and I said, if Ole Miss wins the game, how does it happen? You pretty much nailed it. Played good down the stretch, never give up a lead. These Rebels were hard at Rebels, really.
Yeah, 3 games, 3 days. I was just saying, I was sitting next to Neil, and I turned to him early in the game, and I said, I don't know if Chris Beard likes this pace. Yeah. It was pretty frenetic early. Both teams trading blows, and Ole Miss didn't waver. I was pretty impressed with just staring Alabama in the face, not being at all intimidated. They took it to Alabama. I caught the very beginning of Nate Oates' opening statement before I came up here. And, he was like, hey, Chris Beard's coach to the national championship game. He knows what he's doing. And, the team answered the bell.
Last night we had the Travis Perry game. Tonight, Zach, I believe it was Elias Carmody game.
Man, just absolute nails down the stretch. They needed buckets, especially because the last minute and a half, 2 minutes, Alabama could not buy them.
Yeah.
They got clean looks, could not hit shots. I kept telling everybody around me, we were all talking about the game, and I said an Alabama run is coming. And Ole Miss is going to have to withstand it, hold serve, and Ole Miss did. And, just an absolutely incredible play at the end. Pat Pinkins coming over help side, blocks the shot. James Scott gets the rebound. That was all she wrote. Carmody was just unreal. Beard talked about how he has 3 shots that he can get off at any time. Just the unique skill set, the back that he has, playing a lot of European professional basketball. He's new to the SEC. He's new to college basketball in America, but he looked like a seasoned vet tonight. The floater was working.
Yeah.
And the 3 with the shot clock going down was just crazy.
It felt like, Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, it felt like Ole Miss was a little more poised tonight versus last night against Georgia. For everybody watching, remember Ole Miss got up 23 points. Tonight they got up over 10. Never lost the lead. Have not lost the lead the entire tournament. But tonight, Zach, it felt like it was a more poised team from Chris Beard.
Yeah, I thought it really looked like he only got frustrated maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
Malik Diaz took a bad shot, did not get back on defense, led to a run out. Alabama got an easy dunk. And then the only other time I saw him get frustrated was Eduardo Clark. He was dribbling between his legs, and it went off his foot, turnover.
Yeah.
Other than that, it seemed like he was very calm. Again, he trusts his guys. It's a completely different team. Everybody keeps asking, why is this? Why are they different? Why are they different? I don't know, man. I guess some adversity and a little bit of urgency can change things. I thought Dia came out, hot start, cooled off a little bit, got into some foul trouble, sat down, and then Coverdine and AJ Storr really picked up the slack down the stretch. And Patton Pinkins as well. He had the huge block, but he also had, I believe, 13. Yeah, he had the baseline floater going. That's kind of his shot. When he gets aggressive, he's a little bit of a matchup nightmare for people because he's big, he's long, he's skilled. I think the word for me was just resolve, like just not intimidated whatsoever by 2 seed man.
I thought it was interesting. Some of the national media was obviously in the media room, and they have not followed the program. And Chris even said that a lot of you guys may not have followed us throughout the year. You only see the record. But we're a program, we being Ole Miss, we're a program that had Alabama, had Auburn, Mississippi State, beat Georgia, Oklahoma. They were there in so many games, and for the lack of a better word, Chris was saying, you've seen what we can do. He even intimated tonight that he feels the team is kind of coming together at this point in the season. I asked you that last night, talking about, is this a particular situation where the team is kind of coming together late in the year? I think Chris even said as much. They're playing really well right now.
Yeah, and look, semifinals now. So, old adage of throw the records out. Anybody can get hot in March.
Yeah.
That's what Pinkins said that after the game. mean, it's true though. Like at this point, you're going to play the winner of this game, Arkansas and Oklahoma, and all bets are off, man. You're going to have a significant coaching matchup advantage, in my opinion, between either of these teams with Chris Beard. And just winning 3 in a row, this team is getting more and more confident.
Right.
And I kept waiting on the legs to fail.
I did too.
Tonight.
I did too. And it never came to that. What do you attribute that to?
I said last night, I got to hone in on some adrenaline. Maybe they did get the espresso machine on the bench. I don't know, but
It seems like we're just sitting here. I mean, it's 12 hours later. But
yeah,
what was fascinating to me is, someone asked Chris tonight about the legs of the team, that sort of thing, and he even said, I saw some guys this morning yawning at breakfast. I was like, hold on a minute, we're not tired. We don't do that.
Yeah.
And so he said, look, these guys they play back-to-back games all the time growing up. They're not 45-year-olds like we are, 50-year-olds.
Yeah.
They're young players. And so we saw them tonight. You would have never, Zach, I'll say this. If you watch the game tonight, you have never thought, the Ole Miss team was a team that's already played 2 games. I didn't think that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it was our guy Sam Hutchins asked the question. Somebody asked it in the post game. Do you think it's an advantage for a team like Ole Miss to have already played 2 games and kind of get rhythm, the momentum versus the double bye like Alabama where you have to play again? So you're almost kind of coming out cold. For Ole Miss, they've already played 2 games in this building. They're used to it. So maybe that's the case. I don't know. I just think that right now they do not look phased at all. They're not intimidated, and more, I think that team is going to go to the hotel tonight and they're going to say, "Hey guys, just 40 more minutes. We got a shot." 80 minutes away from playing in the Assembly tournament. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But
there were some scuttlebutt amongst the SEC and national media, local media in the press room, and everybody's like, didn't expect to see Ole Miss today. And here they are, playing and winning. And I'll say this, Zach, you and I have followed Chris Beard a long time, even prior to his time at Ole Miss. I'm not altogether surprised they're playing so well because of how good of a coach he is. We've all said that it's a really talented team. They just haven't put it together. They're really playing well right now. I'm not surprised right now at how well they're playing.
No, and I mean, I've talked to several media members all weekend, and they've all asked me, like, what's up with, watching this team? What's the record, what it is? And, I was like, I don't really know. Like, they just couldn't win. They never got blown out. They never quit. They always played hard. Just sometimes you just don't win. I mean, I think that's the only explanation, right? I mean, because obviously now it's a good team. They're playing well. I just think for, most of the season, 4.5, 5 months, just couldn't get over the hump in several games. But the SEC battle tested this team, and now you're reaping the benefits here. You've got a shot at playing for the conference tournament.
One thing I thought was interesting is, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but Chris Beard opened the press conference with, we wish Alabama all the best in the NCAA tournament next week. That's the 3rd time he said that. And I thought it was really neat how he said, we wish Texas, we wish Georgia, we wish – it's almost as if to say, we're beating all the teams that are making the tournament. Yeah. And Zach, if you're in Chris Beard's head, you have to be thinking back where this team could be had they performed like they should have this year.
Yeah, and I mean, also you think about it where it's like, if you're looking at what, I don't know, let's say Ole Miss was 19 and whatever. These 3 wins, I mean, these are major resume. You're improving your seeding. That's the case. You got to win it all to get into the tournament. But hey, I mean, anybody, as John Rossi says, this is March.
Yeah. So, and Chris said in the press conference tonight, he said, this is our NCAA tournament. Yeah. We have to win these games in a row to make it to the big dance. A couple of big notes Malik Dia finished with 14 points, 2 of 4 for 3, 5 of 13 from the floor. Pat Pink is the big night tonight, 13 points. But it was all about Elias Carmody. I'm saying that right. Elias Carmody, 16. He had a big night. And I think, Zach, what you said perfectly, the floater tonight is as good as it's been all year.
Yeah, because Alabama's long, they're athletic, they protect the rim, and just that quick off the floor, one hand, it's hard to defend when he's going to the basket. Ole Miss out-rebounded Alabama and got out in transition, pushed Alabama, which is funny because we were here last night and I said, Alabama wants to run. They want to shoot threes. They want to get to the rim, dunks, layups. And Ole Miss kind of beat them at their own game, which is impressive. Not a lot of people can do that today.
We talked a lot about the offense for Ole Miss. Defensively, Alabama from the floor, only 31% from three, only made 9 3-pointers, 41% from the floor. We talked a lot about Ole Miss and everybody having their role. Tonight we saw Carmody play well. Dia, not so much offensively, but others really stepped up, Carmody being the one. But Pat Pinkins had a big night tonight. Defensively, who really shined for Ole Miss tonight?
I thought.
By the way, James Scott, 10 rebounds.
Yeah.
Following up 13 rebounds, another big night for Scott.
Yeah. I thought everybody in the front court did their part. I thought A.J. Storer was pretty sticky on the Barron foul line. I thought Travis Perry played good defense. Eduardo Lafke came in. He played 13 minutes. It's kind of the same thing we talked about last night. It's basically 6 guys, and then there's one other person that comes in. You had the 5 starters. You got Storer off the bench. Tonight it was Lafke. You only got 5 minutes from Kesson Giffa, 5 for Chess. But it was a balanced effort, and James Scott was everywhere. He was rebounding, altering shots. He was causing a lot of issues for Alabama because the guards were getting downhill, and then they were running into a wall, and they couldn't get a shot on. So outside of a couple lobs and a couple really good buckets that you can't defend that Phylon had, I thought Ole Miss was really good on ball defense.
Yeah, A.J. Storer, I didn't mention him earlier, off the bench, 7 of 14 from the floor, 17 points. You talked about Phylon for Alabama. He was basically their offense, 28 points, Holloway with 18, and then Sherrill with 14. Otherwise, Ole Miss did a really good job defensively. Phylon's a great player.
Yeah, he's going to get his 20-plus a game. He's going to play in the NBA. I think during shoot-around, I watched him. He made it one point. He made 9 in a row. That's just kind of one of those waves that you have to deal with in a game like this. You know he's going to get his. He got a lot of clean looks. He made a lot of them. One thing I did notice, this is the first game of the tournament somebody shot over 40% against Ole Miss. Yeah. So the defense has just been outstanding. Alabama scores 79, but the runs that Alabama would push to go on, Ole Miss did a really good job getting stops. At one point late in the game, it was almost 2.5 minutes without a bucket for Alabama. They were getting looks and they could not hit a shot. A lot of it was Ole Miss's defense, but a lot of it too, I think, Alabama started to feel pressure. Now, they're playing in the tournament. This game didn't really matter for them, but those guys want to win. And I think when it got to about 6 minutes left, you can kind of sense a little bit of pressing from Alabama.
I thought that too. That's a good call out.
And Ole Miss just stayed consistent.
I agree.
And held serve. I wrote in my game score just like a master class from Beard. They talked about no threes. They had really good closeouts down the stretch. They didn't get a ton of good looks. Just a great all-around scouting report from the staff, and just great performance from the players.
And it felt like, obviously, so Beard took the air out of the ball with about 5 minutes to go. I thought it was a really good job of milking the clock, trying to get the possessions out of Alabama's hands, and utilizing your offensive possession. Ole Miss kind of went cold down the stretch, but once again, winning time. Zach, I've talked about this a lot, and it's more or less been in the negative for Chris Beard and Ole Miss throughout the season. But here in the SEC tournament, winning time is back, and Ole Miss has done such a good job down the stretch. Once again, not allowing Alabama to take the lead.
You know, it was funny. I started to get a little nervous because at one point in the game, I believe it was on a shot clock violation. The official ran kind of to midcourt towards the scores table, signaling. And for a second, I thought, because it's pretty pro-Alabama crowd, it was loud.
Very loud.
I was like, is he calling a foul? He added 1 second on the clock.
Yeah.
And I told Sam Hutchins, and then under 20 seconds, he's like, now all I can think about is that 1 second that they added. So with 0.5 or whatever they had,
0.8.
I got a little nervous. But just an epic game. I called it a thriller. It had a little bit of everything. I mean, you had there was a stretch where I thought the officials really let them bang and get after it, and then really I thought last night the officials took the game over for a little bit, got really ticky-tacky. But just a great performance. If you're an Ole Miss fan, obviously you got to win it all to get to the tournament. But I think this tournament, these 3 games, say a lot about this team and what Chris Beard's culture is in that locker room.
What are your overall thoughts about the SEC tournament? I mean, it's a really cool environment. It's a nice facility here in Nashville. Do you think this is a good spot for the tournament? Because it's been Nashville, Tampa, St. Louis, Atlanta. It's been all over.
I mean, I think this is the best place for it because I can just drive down the road. But I think Bridgestone does a fantastic job. They set us up pretty well back there in the media area. But yeah, I mean, I think the atmosphere in here, the place isn't too big, but it's big enough. Tomorrow it's going to be loud. It's going to be crowded. We talked about Ole Miss fans coming up for tonight. I think tomorrow.
I thought it was a pretty good Ole Miss crowd.
Yeah, it was.
They were obviously overshadowed by Alabama. Alabama had a great crowd, but there were quite a few Ole Miss fans here. I expect it to be a fairly tough ticket tomorrow.
Yeah,
especially if Arkansas wins tonight.
Yeah, Saturday, the weekend. Maybe people are getting back from spring break. Maybe they decide to just keep going and head on up to Nashville. But I like it here. I think they do a great job. They take care of us, and I think the building is great. I don't partake in Broadway, but people like it. So yeah, I would like for them to keep it here on the Texas side because I live here. But I think they do a great job.
We heard Chris Beard in the press conference. There was a group of Ole Miss students. There were 4 students, and Chris said, if you're watching the stream here, Coach Chris Beard wants you to come by the office next week. And if they're not playing in the NCAA tournament, but come by and see him. He's got a special treat for you. Students, not like I said, not a huge crowd, but I expect the crowd to be better tomorrow. It was a big night tonight. Who is your player of the game tonight, Zach?
I thought with the game kind of in the balance, I think you have to go Julius Comardine. Yeah. It was either him or AJ Stewart for me, but honestly, you could have given it to either of those two or Pat Pinkins because he had the big block to save it.
And it was clean, by the way. We saw it on the video board. The Alabama fans were kind of yelling, but once they saw it on the video board, it was ball on ball. Yeah. It was a good block.
And I mean, it was a Blackie misses the free throw. Pylon gets all the way down, and it makes a great pass to who was it?
What now?
22, Sherrell. I thought, easy dunk. Ole Miss is going to have to hit a buzzer beater to win. And James Scott was there as well. Pinkins comes over from the help side, clean block from behind. Scott grabs it, ball game. But yeah, I thought Comardine was just ice in his veins down the stretch, hitting some big shots. When, it's kind of one of those where everybody knows that you're going to take the shot because he had the hot hand. Big time moment there, and elite guys can go and still get the bucket, but everybody knows you're going to try. So that's probably my player of the game. Man, Storr, 3 games in Nashville, 18 points per game, and he's damn near shooting 50% from the field. He's been great.
James Scott, I don't know if you're cold enough to remember Jason Smith, playing in Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Not a huge offensive threat, but he's a great defensive player. And I don't know if it's because he's number 4 too. But I've just really fallen in love with James Scott. 13 boards last night, 10 boards tonight, only 4 points. He's playing really good defense. I just really like him. It's just, honestly, I'm really disappointed that the season has come to an end as it is. With a chance to make the tournament, don't get me wrong, I understand that. But this late in the year, the team is kind of figuring it out. This has really been a fun team to watch the last couple of years.
Yeah, and I know it doesn't really matter. Well, I think it does, but some people are going to say, well, Ole Miss doesn't win on Saturday, season's over, whatever. Say what you want. I think this speaks a lot to the program.
Right.
For Ole Miss to do this after the year it had. I think it's going to help recruiting. It's only going to help the Ole Miss program, even though you have a down year. So, win, lose, hoist the trophy, go to the tournament, or go home. I think this has been a huge week.
Is it fair to say, I don't know how much, is it fair to say that this little run at the end of the year, is this a recruiting tool, do you think? Kind of a little bit?
Yeah, I think so, especially because of who Ole Miss has played. Like 3 tournament teams. You play an Alabama team that's going to be a single-digit seed, has a good shot to make a deep run. Chris Beard said he thinks they have the ability to be a Final Four team. So, again, you have the Sweet 16 last year. You take Michigan State down to the wire, almost get to the Elite 8. And then this year, regular season, not great. Until you get to Nashville, and you beat 3 tournament teams. So, I think it's only going to help, especially with recruiting, but just the overall feel for the program with fans, because people were a little disgruntled. I think this is going to help them next year.
Oklahoma or Arkansas, they're playing now. Augusta already got 18 points with 6 minutes to go in the first half. Which team does Ole Miss match up with, Oklahoma or Arkansas?
I think it's Oklahoma. But at this point, hey, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's just a game, 40 minutes. Go out there and play whoever. I do think I would give the coaching matchup to Ole Miss in either team. Cal Berry, I think Berry will pass him. Same with Porter Moser. Just Arkansas's got Darius Seiko.
right.
If you're Ole Miss, you would probably prefer not to play Darius Seiko.
He is an incredible talent, and Zach, I've seen some projections. Lottery pick. I don't know how they say it.
For sure.
He's a big-time player. Jake Thompson, I don't think we want to know what the score is in the baseball game. Kind of light up. I don't know that it's great. So the good news is the Ole Miss men's basketball team win here tonight. They win 80-79 over Alabama. Zach Berry's got full coverage for you on the Ole Miss Spirit. That's omspirit.com. You can sign up right there by that code. Just use that QR code to sign up today. Go to omspirit.com. Full coverage of everything happening here at the SEC men's basketball tournament. Baseball's going on in Texas. Jake Thompson will have you covered there. There's a live thread on the board. There's also the live thread that just happened about the basketball game. All of that, full coverage on the Ole Miss Spirit. Chuck Brownsville's manning the board. Ben Garrett's on the board. It's wide open, and we encourage all of you to be a part of the Ole Miss Spirit. Zach, Ole Miss wins again. They'll have the winner of Oklahoma and Arkansas tomorrow at 2:30 here in the Bridgestone Arena. And, hey, let's do it again. We'll see you tomorrow after the game. And hopefully we're talking about an Ole Miss championship opportunity on Sunday. For Zach Berry, I'm Brad Logan. We'll talk to you tomorrow here from the Bridgestone Arena. So long, everybody.